450 years for one plastic bottle. It doesn't biodegrade, it photodegrades.
The louder the voices are across the world, whether it's kind of promoting climate change or denying it, it's still kind of putting it in the spotlight.
How we kind of make retrofit more sexy. You know, people will bite your hand off for a new kitchen. When you're offering them insulation, they don't always see the benefits.
People in Southern Housing really care about the environment. They really want to reduce, residual spills. They really want to make people feel more comfortable. They want to sit outside and look at the flowers in trees.
Welcome to another episode of the Southern Housing Podcast. I am here today with Charlotte, Jo and Kerry from the Sustainability team. April is Earth Month, so this episode we are focusing on those green conversations. And tell us about what you've achieved today, because I know that you guys have achieved so much. So what kind of things are you doing inside and outside the business?
Yeah, of course. So I think we'll all answer this one, but I'll start. So we have just achieved Shift Gold for the 7th year running, which is really exciting. We are over 77% of our homes are at EPCC, which is great progress towards our 2030 target of getting all our homes to EPCC. We are 80% actually now of the way through hitting our objectives of our sustainability strategy. And I will pass over to Jo and Kerry first.
Okay, so I work in the retrofit planning side of sustainability team. To date, we have completed 6,128 measures on 3,952 homes. So we try to take, where possible, a fabric first approach, which means we will insulate homes and make sure the ventilation is adequate so that we don't create any damp or mold spots. But we've also completed measures from external wall insulation, solar panels, new heating systems, cavity wall insulation, all sorts of bits and pieces. So that's been predominantly our focus. We've actually spent over the last couple of years over £4 million of government funding, which we've obviously matched from Southern Housing. So that's all gone into our retrofit work that we've been doing on all these homes. And at the moment we're working on 3 funds. So we've got our Wave 3 fund, our Challenge fund and our Partnership fund. And we are looking to work on a very big block at Samuel Lewis in Islington, which is our grade 2 listed buildings. We're still working on the Isle of Wight. We're working in Portsmouth, Sussex, Kent on retrofit programmes as there. So we've got a lot going on.
Amazing. And Kerry?
I work in the Sustainability Reporting Projects team. The biggest project that I'm working on is a biodiversity pathway that was published 2 years ago. Since that was published, we have enhanced over 100 sites to enhance the biodiversity there at no cost to residents. We've managed to get all funding for that to make sure that those areas the quality of green space has been increased. Residents are able to sit in their communal gardens to make sure that to increase their health and well-being and to look after wildlife themselves.
Oh, I love that.
So I just want to give a big shout out to make that possible. I've worked really, really well with different teams within Southern Housing. I want to say how amazing all the colleagues have been. I've been working with all the different teams. One of those teams is Estate Services. They have absolutely surpassed themselves with all the biodiversity enhancements they have done, from reduced mowing, putting in plants, putting in trees. I'm just so excited to be able to share all of them with everybody this year. And social impact as well. We've got a lot of funding through our supply chain. So we've been able to have community orchards, community gardens. We've actually gone in for 2 green flags, which is amazing. Other HAs haven't really touched on this yet, and I've been asked to share all of these successes at an event later in the year to other HAs to show how we've done it. And it's all down to working together collaboratively with social impact, our supply chain, who is so keen to help us, which has been fantastic. Our facilities team, we've been working really well. We've done office audits to make sure that we're reducing our energy, water, waste and improving our sustainable materials. Our learning and culture team, we've been working with really closely to design a carbon literacy module that we co-created with our sustainability, our climate champions, which is amazing, colleagues across the business. And we've actually won some awards over the last 3 years. Jo has won an award for her energy efficiency projects. We have been shortlisted for our team for the Housing Heroes Awards. And we are going in again this year for our Unlock Net Zero Awards for lots of projects that we're working.
It's also worth saying, because it's particularly relevant at the moment, that we have, over the last calendar year, made £360,000 worth of energy savings for Southern Housing and our residents. And so far this year, we've made £145,000 worth of savings. And our energy is locked in for 26-27, so our residents won't be subjected to the fluctuations in the market at the moment, which is really exciting.
That is really good. So I suppose that leads me nicely onto the future. So what do you think are our goals for the future?
Yeah, that's
Quite a loaded question.
Yeah, it's a big question, but yeah, it's a good one. I mean, long term, obviously, we are trying to get to net zero by 2050, in line with the government requirements, but also we have an obligation as a social housing provider to get all our homes to EPCC by 2030. So that's a big push at the moment. There's a lot of changes happening in policy and regulation within the world of sustainability at the moment, so we're having to monitor that heavily and make sure that we are reporting as needed and also compliant with everything. So there's a lot going on in that respect. Our sustainability strategy is also due for renewal, so we will be producing a new strategy that will run from 27 to 2030. That would obviously be aligned with our strategic plan and our asset management strategy that will also be being released for over the same period.
Amazing. So lots to look forward to.
Absolutely.
So how difficult would you say that your job is? What kind of reception do you get from both colleagues and residents? Things like that.
Yeah, I think kind of from a higher level perspective, the main challenges we have as a team, I think, are with the shifting environment, the regulation changes, policy changes. There's a lot of reporting requirements that the team have to adhere to. And just keeping on top of that has been really, really challenging. And actually, a lot of the kind of stipulations set by government in practice are not actually that realistic. So we're having to work very closely with other G15 members and other kind of industry leaders to make sure that our voice is heard. But yeah, I'll pass over to Kinsey for.
The main barriers and struggles for myself is resident engagement. Yeah. So we have a great number of residents that are very keen to have their homes retrofitted. They want energy efficient measures. They can see the benefits of it. But we also have quite a group of residents that don't respond and engage. And it's how we kind of make retrofit more sexy. You know, people will bite your hand off for a new kitchen. When you're offering them insulation, they don't always see the benefits. So there's a lot of education that we do. So we obviously work with Uniting Comms quite a lot, and look at lots of different techniques and ways of trying to engage those residents and educate them. So last year I made a 3D model of a retrofit house.
So good.
Just so that residents can look at something like, you know, that's tangible and see all the different measures. We've got education pieces going on. I've done road shows. We've gone out and met residents, talked to them all the time. We think about our comms and how we engage with them.
Yeah.
But that is the main barrier, is just getting them to buy in. And people are busy, and there's lots of surveys, and they're working and trying to get around those barriers. So we work closely with our contractors and our installers to try and work evenings and weekends if we can, and try and get some of this work done so that people don't have to take time off for 6 different surveys, and obviously try and combine them all on the same day and things like that. So they are kind of the key barriers, is to get that buy-in and that education so that they understand what we're trying to do and why. Some of the other ideas we've had this year to try and address engagement is we set up a couple of years ago now our resident sustainability champions.
Yeah.
So they're a group of residents who are very keen in the environment, sustainability, biodiversity. It's an online group that I run, and they help us with articles, and they will come up with ideas and tell us what they want to talk about. They can go and talk to residents who are having retrofit and say, we've had this done, so that they're hearing from residents, not from us, and who will genuinely say to them, it was really hard work, but it was really worth it in the end, you know. We do case studies as well, talk to residents that way, so we get their views as well. And I've also set up this year a G15 resident engagement group, so meeting with sort of peers across the sector to find out how they're struggling and coming up with ideas.
That's amazing.
So that we can all implement and just learn from good practice, really.
Yeah. Perfect. Thanks, Jo. And how about you, Kerry?
Brilliant. So for me, I love a challenge. Yeah. I joined Southern Housing as we were merging the ESI organisations. So I was really lucky to come in with fresh eyes and look at legacy policies, procedures, processes, and really dig around them and go, right, how can we combine them to make a really good practice? I was able to do lots of research, look across the sector to make sure that we have leading, we are leading the way with this. So we've upgraded our standards, what we expect from our new builds. We've upgraded our standards for our estate services, procedures, their training, their learning, all of that as well. So that's been really, really good. I feel that with the team, we have this perception that we're trying to get teams to do more work. So what we try and do is we've always trying to find innovative ways to incorporate sustainability into business as usual.
Yeah.
And for me, the best way that I can do that is really communicating effectively with my colleagues, finding out what their challenges are, be sympathetic to their challenges as well, and working out compromises of how we can get sustainability to go through their day-to-day roles. I do that. I offer people cups of tea to sit down and have a chat face-to-face. I attend their team meetings online, dip into their meetings when they're having them, just so I can put that message out there. And I really feel that is working. I feel like a lot of teams know who I am. Yeah, when I come to them, they know that I'm trying to do it in the best way, and I'm not trying to try and give them extra work to do. So I'm just explaining what we're doing in a very easy way, so it can be done. And a way that we've done that as well is I looked across the sector, in different sectors as well, how to get more engagement internally, and that's why we set up our Climate Champions group. So we've looked all across the business. There's so many people in Southern Housing that really care about the environment. They really want to reduce, residents' bills. They really want to make people feel more comfortable. They want to sit outside and look at the flowers in trees. So we are so lucky. We have a big group of people from across the business that are actually helped co-create the carbon literacy learning, so people understand what we're trying to achieve, and that will be helping us shape our new sustainability strategy.
So obviously we know that there's a lot of viewpoints out there about sustainability worldwide as well, not just exclusive to Southern Housing. How do you feel that is kind of affecting us? How are we overcoming that?
Yeah, I think that's a very relevant question, but generally, I think we've found as a whole that people are becoming more receptive to sustainability as a whole. There's definitely a long way to go, and it's not helped, obviously, by people who are, denying climate change or not supporting it. But we've got targets that we have to meet, and a lot of this needs to be kind of top-down driven. But if policies and procedures are kind of put in place, then it makes it much easier for us to kind of shift the agenda and move things along. So we've obviously got our 2050 target, but I think we've also got to get all our homes EPCC by 2030. But generally residents and colleagues as well are reading more and more about what's out there, and actually the louder the voices are across the world, whether it's kind of promoting climate change or denying it, it's still kind of putting it in the spotlight and making it a conversation to be talked about, and something that people are becoming progressively more aware of.
Can I just add to that? Even if we wasn't doing it under a sustainability theme, we're saving money, we're helping residents to save money, the business is trying to save money so we can reinvest more into residents' homes. So actually the climate change discussion, sometimes aside from that, it's just a good thing to do. And I think our residents want to be sitting outside in nice green areas. They want to be looking at flowers and being able to grow their own food. So actually, we're doing what we feel is best for our colleagues and residents anyway.
But we've also done so much education now. We've done so many comms pieces. There's so much information that we provide.
Yeah.
Residents are starting to read our message and hear the story. And, with fuel bills going up, residents are starting to really buy in and understand that, the work we're doing, how it will benefit them, how it will save the money in their pocket and give them nicer, warm, comfy, safe homes to be in and a nice environment outside. So I think our message over the last few years since this team really took off has really started getting out there, and the residents and the staff are all really buying into it now, so which is really great.
Yeah, they've had some good examples now of where particularly retrofit work has taken place, and they've seen what their neighbour has had, and they now really want the benefits of that as well. So, as Kerry and Joe both mentioned, sustainability is not a standalone piece. It's very much embedded into kind of efficiencies, reducing costs, and every area of the business, whether it's kind of social, financial, everything. Yeah, can't be seen on its own.
Amazing, thank you. So you've all told me about your barriers, but now I want to hear the fun bits, the best bits. What's the best bits about your role?
I think the best bit is, for me at least, is working with so many kind of passionate and dedicated individuals. We've got a fantastic team. Everyone is, super enthusiastic, keen, and we have so many different opportunities to work with other teams within the business. So we're very spread out and kind of dipping into all sorts of things. It's also a very growing and fast-paced environment, sustainability at the moment. There's a lot changing and a lot of moving, so no 2 days are the same. Keeps it really exciting and keeps us on our toes, definitely. But it's definitely not boring. So I'd say, I get a lot of joy out of that.
And how about you, Joe?
Helping the residents is the best bit. So when you actually go around afterwards and talk to residents, and I had a resident who said, I've never been able to take my son on holiday as a single father, and because we'd done the energy efficiency work, he saved enough money that he could take his son to Spain for a week for his 18th birthday. Do you know what I mean? So how lovely is that?
Yeah.
And residents that have said, I would turn off the heating and within 10 minutes the house is cold again, and now I can turn it off and it's warm for hours. So of course they're saving bills, but they've also got a really nice comfortable home to live in. So that's one of the key things, is actually how much we're doing for the residents and how much it's benefiting them. But it's also really great because we have, as Charlotte said, there is so much flexibility in what we do. Because it's a new sector, we can kind of choose how we do things. So I've had the opportunity to do podcasts for RISE, which is the department that looks after all the training for retrofit and energy efficiency. I'm going to the Retrofit conference this year to be on an expert panel. We get opportunities to do things like this. I can go and talk to residents. We can set up events. So from a personal perspective, the skills that I'm learning whilst doing this job and the network we can make and the people I can talk to, and then we can bring all that expertise back. Yeah. And, pick everyone's brains and implement it here. So it is a really, really good job. It just has so many opportunities.
That's so nice. And you guys make such a difference as well, but you can tell all throughout the business. What would be your best bits?
I would definitely echo what Joe and Charlotte have said. I think there's different challenges that I didn't think I'd ever be able to do, and finding ways to overcome them has really made me grow. And there's no growth if you stay in your comfort zone. So this is what it's done for me. Working with a team of really passionate people, we found our tribe. We share so much good practice with each other. We're all brilliant in the fields that we work in. We do lots of research. We spend a lot of time to make sure that we are doing the best that we can. Again, Joe said about residents. I've had residents say that we recently upgraded an area outside a communal garden, and there are some residents that never sat outside before, and they're now sitting outside on benches, looking at plants, being able to weed themselves and to water the plants themselves, and they're just so happy to be able to do that. So really lovely, the things that we can help residents with. And I'm just so happy to work with colleagues across the business that are so dedicated to helping us and supporting us with our sustainability targets. And self-development as well. I've been to workshops, webinars. I've been asked to be a panel speaker. I've been asked to educate others as well that I didn't think I'd ever really get to do. But sharing your practice, sharing challenges, the whole sector wants to learn from each other. So I co-chair the Biodiversity in Housing network with over 40 HAs. So we sit and discuss what the challenges are, what the opportunities are, what funding there is, so we can really help each other across the sector.
That's so good. And honestly, my next question was going to be what is so important to you personally, but I think you've actually all just summed that up so nicely. Like, it's so obvious that you love what you do and why you turn up to work every day. So thank you so much. So next we're going to move on to talk more about Earth Month. So April is Earth Month, and obviously as Southern Housing, we kind of always celebrate this in quite a big way. So can you tell me what is it about?
Growing bees.
It's for you, Joe. It's our favourite time of year, isn't it? I don't be serious.
Okay, so Earth Month is basically where, as a whole, we can, as the world, we can look at the planet, what we're doing, and focus on certain things. So we can celebrate the successes, and we have a subject every year that we look at. So this year we're looking about plastic and the planet, what it's doing to it, the consumption of it, how it's being recycled. Lots of stuff coming out. So obviously, keep an eye out, get involved.
Yeah.
It's going to be a great month.
Amazing, thank you. So you said that this theme for Earth Month is planet versus plastic. So Kerry, can you tell me more about plastic, kind of the problem that we have with it at the moment, and how we can help, I suppose, as a colleague, but personally as well?
Sure. I just want to say that, if plastic is used properly, it is wonderful. It lasts a very long time. It's a very good way to store food. It can be amazing, and it has got such a long life cycle. The problem is when it gets, when it's not used properly and it's either not recycled. A lot of plastic cannot be recycled, and it doesn't disappear. It takes a very, very long time. It takes 400, I've got my notes here, 450 years for one plastic bottle. It doesn't biodegrade, it photodegrades, which means it breaks up into very, very small particles. It's never, ever disappears. And then the big concern that we have is obviously it ends up in our waterways. It ends up in the food chain, and it will just carry on like that. So, like Joe said, we're looking at, the best things that we can do for it, whether we stop it at source or we recycle it better. So my first thing would be, first top tips, I suppose, is to refuse plastic as much as you can, knowing that you can have better alternatives that can be recycled endlessly, like glass. If you drink, your water out of a glass bottle rather than a plastic bottle, then actually you are saving yourself from ingesting microplastics as well. What we're doing about it at Southern Housing is we're making sure, so plastic bottles in our vending machines, we're making sure that people have got access to really good filtered tap water, because there are microplastics in tap water, but only between 6 and 10 particles, and actually the filter can filter them out. So we have got them in every office. There could be up to 240,000 pieces of microplastic in 1 litre water bottle. So it's just being careful of the material that we're using. We are going to be obviously doing a litter pick. We're doing it at near a waterway. So we're going to try and clear that out.
We've done that before, haven't we? And the amount of plastic I attended and the amount of plastic that we've found is astonishing. Just in that few hours.
We've done it over a few days. I think the amount that we collected.
We took a fraction out of the park that was there, and we were there a long time.
Absolutely. And I think after that's refusing it. Reducing it is combining your plastic at home. So for example, your cleaning products or your beauty products. If there's one product that can kind of do 2 or 3 jobs, then you're only using 1 container plastic. So that's a good one. Refilling your cleaning products maybe into glass bottles instead of using plastic bottles. Using plastic-free cloths and things at home as well, which really helps. Being careful with the fibres that you use in your clothing, because microplastics enter the usual washing machine, which go into the marine world as well. So just being careful with that. And then the last one is like recycle. Recycle should be the last step, because you kind of done all those things first, and then making sure that you recycle sensibly, making sure if you can't recycle it at home, there are lots of different ways you can do it by looking online to find out your nearest recycle bank that they'll take them.
Okay, so my last question, Charlotte, we are asking all teams this. If sustainability was an animal, what animal would you be and why?
That's a really good question. We've given it quite a lot of thought, been back and forth a bit.
I think this is the hardest question.
Definitely the most discussed. We've landed on octopus.
Nice.
Mainly because we are involved with so many different teams and residents and different areas as a sustainability team that it's kind of like we've got lots of legs like an octopus. Kind of reaching out, passing information on, but also kind of collecting different pieces of information and working lots of different areas. But it's also a ever-shifting landscape. And we have to be super adaptable, like an octopus. Sometimes we try and be camouflaged and kind of slide into everything that we're doing into different areas. I think octopus is what suits us best at this time.
Oh, I love that. Thank you so much for joining us today. If you would like to listen to more of our podcasts, they're available on YouTube and Spotify. Thank you, Charlotte, Jo and Kerry, and happy Earth Month. Keep listening. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.